started. Gotta put some music on because I gotta go do something here. Here it is. Where is that? Where is that song? Ah, there it is.
Midnight feeds still glowing. Boys, you listening? We're just pretending. Petitions rising in the frozen west. Cold fire under Alberta's chest. Maps don't move, but the people do. Power hums when the silence breaks through. Minneapolis burning around the edges. Not the players, just the ones near the ledges. Warnings whisper through polished teeth. Order talks when chaos breathes. Screens light up, the story bends. Truth wears makeup, depends who's friend. Welcome to the hangout, baby, stay awake. Every headline's wearing lipstick and fake. I put the news like a slow draw sin. Lean in close, let the signal sink in. Red pill nation after dawn. I don't scream, I leave a mark. A preacher paused by a cameraman's grin. Holy ground with a needle pin. Charges filed, the choir stared. Faith interrupted, nobody spared. Stereotypes switching outfits again. Watch conviction fold into trend. Say it's growth, say it's brave. Funny how fast belief behaves. I don't judge, I just watch it fall. Patterns repeat like a late night call. Welcome to the hangout, sugar, take a seat. Truth sounds better when it's whispered sweet. I undress headlines, slow and clean. Tell you what they mean between the screens. Red pill nation, velvet tongue. I don't fight, I let it be shown. A game character wakes up wrong. Accidentally says what you're not supposed to say. Icons aren't chosen. They slip. Greenland echoes through European halls. Lots of noise, no footsteps at all. Welcome to the hangout, boys, behave. I don't sell noise, I'll sell the wave. Watch the world through a smoky lens. No heroes here, just how it ends. Red pill nation, lights down low. I don't tell you what to think, I'll let you know. Same time next episode. Don't forget who read it to you.
And I had to go get some tea and play some music. V might be joining us. He's gonna probably be, if he's here, he'll be here in the next 10 minutes if he joins us. Roger was able to jump in, so Roger, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Roger. I'm here with Naroki on Naroki Files, Red Pill Nation Hangout number 482.
Yeah. Oh wow, I can't. It's wow. I'm almost at episode 500. I think that we're gonna have to do something special for that one. I think.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Now V is probably not making it in because right now he is actually trying to set up a disco where there's a harem of 10 fat black chicks.
Oh, no wonder
So,
he's so damn tired.
well, he had to go out and get all the freaking baby oil.
Yeah, and the food too. Don't forget the food.
Oh yeah, that's important.
Don't forget the food. Can't forget the food when it comes to V and fatties. But yeah, if he will be, he'll be on in about 10 minutes or so. So yeah, I am the Rookie Five. This is the Red Pill Nation Hangout show. We for those of you who don't know, and I can't understand why some of you wouldn't already know, I am at the following locations: BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, MGTOW TV, YouTube now, which is now my number 5 broadcast, number 5 site, not my number 6 site. YouTube just recently passed Brighteon, which, by the way, continues to have upload issues. Although it's not as bad as it was about a month ago, they're still continuing to have upload issues. Mine's Gab, Facebook, Getter, TLB Talks if it ever comes online. I also, again, I'm going to announce this. I also now have a Gab and a Telegram group, and the links for them are down below everywhere except YouTube, of course, because YouTube can't have annoying links disrupting their precious disrupting their precious establishment narrative. Oh, Edworthy is joining us. Mark, welcome aboard. Mark? Oh, Mark. Yeah, Mark, introduce yourself, bud.
Second, sorry, I'm just sorting myself out here.
Mark,
But
Mark,
hi,
Mark, 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 Mark.
yeah, hi, yeah, sorry, I wasn't even realising you were going to do a stream now, but
Yeah, well, it's life. I would have done it earlier on my days off, but life happened, so I'm doing it now. For those of you who don't, anyway. So the topics for tonight, and then I'm going to go off on a little bit of a brief tangent here before it's almost like a topic zero before I actually get into the actual topics themselves. But the topics for tonight are: number 1, Prince Andrew arrested over the Epstein Files. 2, Disney screws up again. This is the one that I wanted V for, over a stereotype of a black superhero, Captain Durag. I'm hoping that V can at least hold on for that during Black History Month. Topic number 3 is not Chronicles of Narnia. I'm gonna have to fix that. Hold on a second. Topic number 3 is not Chronicles of Narnia. Topic number 3 is, oh yeah, open warfare starts in Puerto Vallarta over a killing of a drug kingpin. That was a really interesting situation, mostly because at the same time that was going on, there's an alt convention, like not just an alt convention, like the alt convention for creators and whatnot, called Anarchapulco, which is on my bucket list to go to. It got moved from Acapulco to Puerto Vallarta, and all of the shooting and all the violence there started like literally the last day of that convention. Topic number 4, Italian government announces that it will start using military assets, in particular its navy, to restrict immigration into its country. Topic number 5, another conservative MP crosses the floor, look potentially giving Mark Carney his majority. And then we have a sports section. One of them is right here in Rogers' backyard. Now, maybe Rogers is not a big football fan, and we covered one of these two topics we covered on the Rookie Five Live yesterday. But the Chicago Bears are moving to Indiana. That's the Chicago Bears, the NFL football team. And this is the one that we covered yesterday on the Rookie 5 live stream. ESPN replaces baseball one night with women's sports. Yeah, it's Sunday. It's one of the weekend slots too, Sunday evening. So, with all that in mind, let me just get very briefly into topic 0. And reason why I have to get into topic 0 is really, really goddamn simple here. While I don't necessarily, I am probably going to have to hold a specific episode just on Alberta separation. The issue that we're having with this is as we get closer to the finish line in terms of the signatures, because the finish date for signatures is May the 2nd. It is very, very obvious that based upon the reporting being given out by everybody, that threshold has definitely been crossed and then some. As a guy who lives in Alberta and is kind of like, I'm not like Rearson, and I'm not going to play the Gimp song because he's not here. But Rearson, who is like absolutely gung-ho about separation.
He'll be back though, so hold off on that Gimp song. And when he comes in, just hit him with it.
Yep. Yep. So the thing about, I am leaning in the direction of separation, but I would want to give the federal government a chance to I want to give the federal government a chance to actually make a case. And so far, their case has consisted of ad hominem, lies, insults from quote unquote educated people, no less, scare tactics, misdirection, ad hominem, basically anything but actually saying the full blown truth about the scenario. They keep.
Sorry, what sort of arguments are they making at the moment?
Oh, they're not making the argue. Oh, okay. I don't want to get into this too long because I'm probably gonna have to do a full blown episode. The confident ignorance. You don't have the majority support. Here's the thing: if you go over to Facebook and you look at the Alberta separation groups, and then you look at the stay groups on Facebook, the stay groups for Facebook are significantly smaller than the Alberta separation groups by a significant margin. And they lie about that and try to act like, and they lie about that and they say that they're in the majority.
Only problem with that is that Facebook and X is not the population of
Yeah. Okay, I got another thing. The pro Canada rallies that I've got photos of. The people attending the pro Canada rallies, the numbers are significantly smaller than the pro separatist rallies. That information is a little bit harder to fake. They lie about the polls. All three of the polls that the pro side has tried to bring out have had flaws in their methodology. The first one was only up for a very limited time and was basically only and actually it was up for a very, very limited time and wasn't announced widely. The second poll, the one done by CTV, the one that the pro stay side puts up, was done by CTV. And the only way you would have known about that poll is if you had been watching CTV. So it's basically a poll of CTV listeners. And then the most recent one that said that 80% they said 80% of residents oppose Alberta separation. And what they said, what they left out, the detail they left out is that they polled Canadians and not people who live in Alberta. So yeah, they lie about the polls. They use
The issue with
deceptive.
that is sure, you could use these polls as a sort of bulwark, as a sort of measure, but the old euphemism, the old idiom of there are lies, damn lies, and then the stats comes to mind.
Yeah, that was it. And of course, you also have. And I mean, I wish I'd saved it when I seen it. You seen condescending intellectuals come in and start lecturing. Here's the thing: most of these academics don't even live in Alberta. They've even gone, and I think you guys will find this really disturbing, which is why the other reason why I had to announce this is that they like former elected officials, aka the deputy premier and the former premier of Alberta, which was Rachel Notley. They pulled out the Nazi card and started calling Danielle Smith a Nazi. Yeah. No, this isn't just some Twitter thing. Like this was like a full blown. This is like elected officials resorting to using that rhetoric.
Can he sue?
Well, Daniel Smith has responded. It should be duly noted that when they did this, they got called on it, and they've gone dead silent since. But yeah, they actually used that rhetoric.
To be honest, you guys just need to get used to it. We're already used to it here in the United States.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, that's not even old. That's old hat here. It's just gonna filter into your guys' country. I think Venezuela had the issue before the bombing, and then now they're starting to do it in South America and other countries.
Well, I mean, we are going to be covering Iran next week, by the way. Well, I mean, here's the other thing. The separatists have also been accused of being Russian assets, MAGA, which they're not. Race, every type of istophobia you can think of, right? Race, white supremacist, everything, right? Anyway.
Okay, I was just going to add, problem with these sort of this sort of rhetoric is the more you use it, the less power it has. More and more people will be water off the duck's back comes to mind.
Yeah, yep, exactly. It is. It's just what was the straw that broke the camel's back for me was the fact when you had elected officials in Canada pulling a stunt like this, right? That has not happened here before, especially. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna get into too many details. The bottom line here is that at some point in the next, in the next month or two, I'm going to have to hold a episode of the Red Pill Nation specifically just on separation on Alberta separating from the rest of the country. There's just been so much that's gone on, and there was a lot going on this week. I had a problem limiting the topics to just 6 this week. That's how busy it was. But anyway, let's just get right into the first topic here. And the first topic is, and oh, look at that. It is, I totally forgot it was Prince Andrew. Okay, well, Prince Andrew is the first member of royalty to get arrested in Britain for something, and I think what 3-4 centuries. I'm not sure how long it's been, but it's been a while. Um, allegedly, and I have to say this, allegedly it was done because Prince Andrew was leaking confidential files to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, and I'm going to get into the realm of speculation here because speculation is legitimately all I've got on this particular issue. Speculation on this is that the establishment is currently looking for a fall guy on Epstein. Both the British, literally, especially after the Epstein Files got released, that big, huge file info dump. They have to put people. They have to start delivering on like somebody has to go in and take the fall for it. And since Prince Andrew had already been stripped of most of his stuff, and most of his titles and so forth, this is just me speculating. I suspect that they just decided to make Prince Andrew the fall guy. They had to come up with somebody prominent, and he was the most prominent name. And there's certainly other people that could be added. And again, to quote, and if I say that, you get triggered by the fact that I said Andrew Tate, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. The Andrew Tate is on the record as saying this, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why they target him, because he doesn't stay in his lane when it comes to the manosphere. He comments on everything. Tate has pretty much gone on the record as saying as if there aren't mass arrests, that there aren't mass trials for over the Epstein file release, then it's like, who really can you trust? And I mean, yeah, I know like the three of us that are on this panel right now. I mean, this is an obvious answer. I mean, yeah, no kidding. Look what's happening. I mean, look at the photo that I've got up right now. You know, by the way, that number, that number of arrests in Britain right now is more than the next 5 countries afterwards for social media arrests, even more than China. That's how bad the British government is on social media arrests at this point. Yeah, I think that Andrew was set up to be the fall guy. They need a hanging, and whoever the powers that be have just decided that Prince Andrew is going to be that person. There's certainly, I mean, hopefully there's going to be a lot more fallout from this, but that is legitimately the only. So, like, I mean, there's been a couple of other people that have stepped down over Prince Andrew, but nobody else has actually been like arrested or anything like that. So, with that, I am going to turn it over. Who wants to go next, Mark or no? We'll go Mark and then Roger. So, Mark, you're up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking that we haven't heard any arrests in relation to Peter Mandelson in this, and that could create a larger sort of problem for certain politicians. As far as I am concerned, when was it? Andrew was arrested on February the 19th in Norfolk, done with Thames Valley Police Force. There's a thing at the moment to call all police forces police services, but I'm not going to do that. all I can say at the moment is, for the purpose of stop trying to limit any subjudice issues, is that this is a ongoing investigation, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Exactly. Roger. Roger.
Sorry, I was in the middle of real quick, and you guys came in. Now, the thing that sticks out to me with all that is actually the fact that nobody's been brought up on any charges. And, it's just, I mean, that's basically what it looks like. Is just a show. I keep bringing I keep bringing up that those towers to Mark all the time that burned down back in like 2019, I think it was.
Grenfell.
Yeah, Grenfell. And me and him went over that, and I keep doing checkups back on that one with him, and it always seems to be the same thing that the investigation is postponed because it could cause issues with people who are higher up in the political field. It seems, you know what I mean. It's like
Just
every.
one minor,
Oh,
sorry,
go
just
ahead.
one minor point. For him to be arrested, he has to be charged with something, and I believe he's been charged with conspiracy to commit misconduct in public office, which could potentially be a custodial sentence anyway. Oh, it's a custodial offence anyway. So, so he has been charged with something, hence the arrest.
Okay, continue, Roger.
But see, this goes back to even what I was talking about. Why I use Grenfell as a good example. Like they've postponed any kind of actions being taken until later on, and the only reason why they're doing it is because they said that it's going to affect people within the political within the political field. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
I've not seen that, or you're paraphrasing there, but I've not seen anything in relation to protecting political entities.
we actually went over that the last time we
Yeah, it was just really saying that the investigation is ongoing. What was it, next year that they should conclude?
they keep postponing it because it's sensitive information that pertains to politicians is what it comes down to. It's not because freaking a proper investigation wasn't done. It's because they're afraid of how it's going to affect politicians' reputation. You know,
Well, remember, if you technically, if you are charged with something in this country and you're a politician, you should step down. So yeah, step down from the office. So I can sort of understand the Crown Prosecution Service's reluctance at this present moment.
you know, I mean that's what really gets me about it. And then you see this as being a recurring thing that happens within the UK. Like if it's an ordinary person that's in trouble, freaking bam, they'll put you away quick as shit. But when it comes to somebody who has any kind of authority, they just seem to postpone and then postpone and postpone. This could take freaking years. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure if you've been fair there. Just there is a process, yeah, and if remember, there are companies, there are individuals, there's executives that are wrapped up in the Greenfield thing, and they've, as far as I'm aware, there has been very little arrests in relation to that at this present moment.
Yeah. That's all I've got to say about it. I'm gonna use my famous words. I just don't buy it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean that's what it comes down to. When you start seeing prosecutions over there, then I'll say cool. You know what I mean? But I just don't buy it. It's going to be another cover up that they're going to sweep under the rug, just like they did with Greenfield. You know, and
We will see. We will see.
that's it.
Okay, all right. Well, I got a couple videos that I forgot to bring on, so I'll bring them on right now here. Yep. So, and then we can get on to topic number 2. So, yeah, first one is the Fox coverage of Prince Andrew being arrested.
Police say they took the brother of King Charles into custody on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Officers reportedly arrived at the royal estate in eastern England earlier this morning to make the arrest of the former prince who turned.
Hey, could somebody needs to turn their microphone off. I'm getting echo over here. Okay, let's try this again.
Police say they took the brother of King Charles into custody on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Officers reportedly arrived at the royal estate in eastern England earlier this morning to make the arrest of the former prince who turns 66 years old today. Andrew is in custody and investigators are carrying out searches at addresses in Berkshire and Norfolk. Police are releasing this statement in part without naming Andrew, by the way, saying, quote, following a thorough assessment, we have now opened an investigation into this allegation of misconduct in public office, an offense that carries up to life in prison in the UK, by the way. We're still waiting more details of this breaking news, but this comes after Andrew was stripped of his royal title last October over ties to convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and after Thames Valley Police said they were assessing a complaint over the alleged sharing of confidential material by the former prince with the late sex offender. The former prince has consistently denied any wrongdoing. Misconduct in public office refers to, quote, serious, willful abuse or neglect of powers relating to the role of public office. We shall see what comes of this. It's a developing story, as you guys know, so we'll keep our viewers updated.
All right, and this one here, this is a bit of a long one, but yeah, it explains quite a bit.
Andrew, once formerly known as Prince Andrew, arrested, questioned, investigated over his links to Jeffrey Epstein, a senior royal detained by police, home searched, files examined, emails scrutinised. This is unprecedented in modern Britain. The allegations centre on newly released Epstein Files, documents suggesting he shared confidential government information with a convicted sex offender while acting as a UK trade envoy. Let that land. A prince trusted to represent Britain abroad, accused of passing sensitive information to Jeffrey Epstein. And now the images. Newly surfaced photographs from the Epstein Files showing Andrew in compromising situations with potential minors, reigniting outrage and suspicion. Photos, emails, associations, years of smoke. Now the public sees the fire. He denies wrongdoing, but denial has been the pattern from day one. Friendship after Epstein's conviction, Central Park walks, palace invitations. A civil settlement paid to a woman who accused him of abuse, who Andrew claimed he never met. The public sees a pattern of privilege shielding power. Because this is not just about one man. It's about an institution that protected him for years. Stripped of titles only after global outrage. Still living with wealth and security most people could never dream of. Now finally facing police scrutiny that ordinary citizens would have faced long ago. The arrest has reignited a deeper constitutional debate. If a royal can be investigated over Epstein-linked allegations, what does that say about the monarchy itself? Calls for republicanism are growing louder, because this scandal does not just stain Andrew. It shakes faith in the entire royal system, and the public is asking harder questions now. What did other royals know about his relationship with Epstein? Who knew the details? Who chose silence? This is bigger than one disgraced prince. It is about accountability at the very top of British power.
Yeah, you gotta.
Just 2 points on that. Sorry, just quick points on that. Republic sentiment is going wider in this country. I've not really experienced that myself, so I'll argue on that. Also, Fox interview stated life imprisonment.
A potential life imprisonment.
Which
potential life
imprisonment. 30 years. Time for life sentence in the UK is 17 years. So life doesn't mean actual life.
Well, I mean, life in Canada is 25. So,
calm
25,
down,
30 years,
rowdy
yeah.
boy. Every time you get all rowdy like that, you start making your microphone mess up. Like I heard just a little bit of what you said, and the whole microphone went like that. So,
Okay.
so calm down. Now,
But my point was that life doesn't mean life.
yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean life.
okay. All right. Well, anyway, let's hold on a second. Let me just flip this over here.
Hold on now. Let me say something there too. When it comes to what was going on there, that's my hope. That goes back to what I was saying about this stuff. And a lot of people are worried about the monarchy. You know what I mean? It's like these monarchy elites who believe that freaking these people should get run around and get away with that stuff. You know what I mean? Like you hear what they said at the beginning. This is just so freaking amazing. It's never happened before, and it's a threat to the monarchy. You know what I mean? So you've got actual citizens in the UK who are worried that the monarchy is going to fall because of this. You know what I mean? It's a scare tactic, plain and simple.
Yeah,
Justice is
that's the hyperbole.
Hyperbole.
Yeah.
It's gonna go. The monarchy's gonna last no matter what. It's not gonna fall because of freaking any kind of relationship between this guy and Epstein. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. All right. So then we will move on to topic number 2. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. I got some. Boy, this one is going to be really interesting. It's too bad V's not here for this one. Because this is the one I specifically brought this up for V. I got a couple videos to show you before we get into this one. I got videos for almost every topic today, just an FYI. But yeah, a couple of videos on this one. You'll see. And by the way, I got to emphasize it. This was Disney that came out with this concept. Here you go.
Freedman Nation initiates consumer boycott. This is an official announcement from Freedman Nation. Effective immediately. Freedman Nation is initiating a.
Sorry, someone needs to mute their mic again.
Freedman Nation initiates consumer boycott. This is an official announcement from Freedman Nation. Effective immediately. Freedman Nation is initiating a consumer boycott of the Walt Disney Company. This decision follows the public release and promotion of a character referred to in media coverage as Captain Durag. Our response is not emotional, it is institutional. We recognize the power of media, we recognize the power of imagery, and we recognize the long history of how cultural markers tied to Freedman identity have been commercialized without accountability. Freedman identity is not a costume. It is not a caricature. It is not a marketing tool. When symbols that carry generational trauma, survival through enslavement, reconstruction, and ongoing status protection are reduced to entertainment props, serious concerns arise. This boycott is about standards. Freedman Nation supports creative expression. We do not support distortion. We do not support exploitation. We do not support narratives that trivialize identity for profit. Additionally, public records show association between director Camille Corbett and the film The Island, a project centered on characters placed in life or death circumstances within an isolated island narrative. When repeated storytelling themes involve confinement, sacrifice, or disposability-coded imagery tied to American identity contexts, pattern recognition becomes necessary. This is not censorship. This is accountability. Effective immediately, we are calling for suspension of Disney Plus subscriptions by members and supporters, redirection of discretionary entertainment spending, institutional review of corporate alignment by partners, and a formal corporate clarification addressing public concern. We expect transparency. We expect engagement. We expect structural safeguards against caricature-driven portrayals tied to Freedman cultural identity. Consumer leverage is structured power. Corporations respond to revenue movement. This action will remain in place pending meaningful dialogue and corrective action. Freedmen Nation stands for status integrity, cultural dignity, and institutional accountability. This concludes our official statement. Further updates will be issued as developments warrant.
Yeah, that is cringe AF. But here, let me show you why they did it. This is 1 minute and 40 seconds, and Matt, try not to face palm. Again, this is Disney, folks.
You just gonna stand there all day like a bunch of soggy laundry? Help a brother out. A little flipping, fold all the laundry tight. You gotta dip in, then put these out of sight. When you're training to defeat the clutter, you need to whip it right. Let me introduce myself.
Captain Durag, bringing superhero funk. Captain Durag, cleaning up that evil junk. If you're out there doing wrong and you hear this funky song, watch out for Durag. He eats bad guys for lunch. Flip it, dip it, whip it.
I think I'm getting the hang of this. Ha!
Me too, AJ. I feel like a new rabbit. I usually only feel that way on my birthday, you know.
Flip it, dip it, whip it.
There's more where that came from, super duper AJ.
Then let me at it. I feel like a lean, mean, cleaning machine. Flip it, move the laundry in its place. Then you dip it and put these toys away. It's easy to defeat the clutter when you whip it up this way. Let's groove and clean it up.
Captain Durag, bringing superhero funk. Captain Durag, cleaning up that evil junk. If you're out there doing wrong and you hear this funky song, watch out for Durag. He eats bad guys for lunch. Flip it, flip it, whip it.
Yeah, man, you literally cannot make that up. That was Disney. Like, holy crap. No, I mean, as cringe as that, yeah, it is a bunch of self-righteous African Americans attempting to engage in cancel culture because of a very badly portrayed character. But I mean, like, look at the character and look at the cartoon, and I'm like, wow, no wonder. I mean, when I saw this, and I saw this on Nerdrotic, and they were like laughing their asses off, and there was actually a black woman on the panel, because Nerdrotic does a panel show like I do, and they were like laughing their asses off. Like, I don't know. Again, right? Especially given the fact that Bob Iger stepped down and the new head creative director is allegedly as bad, if not worse, than the old creative director. How the hell did this thing ever slip past an executive producer? Like, how is it that the executive producer or the showrunner and it's not The Boys that this guy's on, by the way, it's a different show altogether. Like, how did this get past Senators? Like, who in his right mind, especially at a progressive company like Disney, would have made a character like this one? And I'm like, just wow. I mean, I'm not offended. I'm just absolutely gobsmacked, because again, it's not the fact that this character was made, it's the fact that this character was done by a company that loves to moralize and wave its finger at everybody else and try to pretend that it's so much morally superior than everybody else, Disney. And again, I really don't care. This is one that I really wanted V to comment on, but yeah, like, this whole concept, I mean, again, not surprised that it happened. It's the company that's involved that gets me. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark.
As far as I can see, I presume that the executives sort of agreed with the narrative. Obviously, agreed with the well, I'm presuming that these executives still think we are living in 2020 or 2018 or whatever, and still pushing the Black Lives Matter argument. I'm not sure what to take up from this one, to be fair. I think I'll let Woodrow come up with a few points, and if I have any more thoughts, I'll come back to it afterwards.
Okay, take it away, Roger. I kind of figured this was going to be a short one.
With Disney, it's kind of getting played out now, like because a lot of people just been beating freaking Disney over the freaking head on this whole conspiracy with Epstein. You know what I mean? And there's Epstein, the real freaking shit that took place, and then there's Epstein, the conspiracy, and that's really pissing me off right now because of a lot of this stuff that's being put on X and other platforms that are just turning it into a joke, like Pizzagate was. You know what I mean? And Disney's playing off this shit. Like if you go on all these platforms and you see people on there who are red pills, they're always freaking going after freaking Disney, and it's creating a stir. And people are freaking, they've got one side or the other, and all that does is it makes it better for freaking Walt Disney. So you'll get this CEO that steps up in front of the cameras and says, we're not going to do the woke thing. We're going to back off of it. And then what do? They turn around and do it again. And the reason why they're doing it is because they want that controversy, so people will go and watch the movies and watch the cartoons and watch all of the controversy. What's going on? So that's what really I get out of it.
I agree. It's the old thing that headlines sell newspapers. Yeah, I'm not sure how to say this, but yeah, you're right. I'm just waiting, and I know this is in bad taste, but I'm just waiting for Disney to create Epstein Files, the musical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, they would. You could see them being that out of touch. And the thing that this reminds me of is and we covered this on the show a few months ago, was when Iger had the stockholders meeting. I think it was last year or in 2024, and he went, "Oh no, we're done with woke," and like literally. Later on, that same day, MCU comes out with the female Silver Surfer, and they try to double down. They try to say, "Oh no, the Silver Surfer was always female." And it was like, no, the Silver Surfer was never. There was one comic book on an alternate series where the Silver Surfer was female. Right?
Weirdly enough, it was only last year I went back and watched the first couple of episodes of the 1980s Silver Surfers cartoon, and in the first episode, before the character becomes the Silver Surfer, there is a bit of a love interest story with him and a woman.
Yep. I remember that. I remember that series. Anyway, it's Disney. That's the only thing I could say. And again, right, you kind of expect what Roger's saying is that, like, why do they keep doing this stupid stuff? It's like they're either like completely and utterly clueless, in which case Disney is going to cave, is going to just basically self-destruct at some point in the next 5 to 10 years, or they're doing this because they actually somehow think that negative press is good press and it's going to increase their bottom line.
That's
right?
what I go with. I see. I
Yeah.
go with that. And like look at television channel or stations that used to be out that used to do these all day binge watching shows. Okay, where you could watch a show all day long, and if you notice now, it's gone out of style. People are sick of it, and that's the same thing that's happening with the cartoon networks. All of these cartoon networks they put out where you can watch uh, cartoons all day. People are getting sick of that stuff. They don't want to see that anymore. You know what I mean? So they've got to come up with something that'll keep freaking Disney afloat when it comes to these movies and these television shows.
I am not sure if it's people, the wider population is getting sick of it. I think due to streaming services, we've got much more choice now.
Yeah,
And
that would be a better way of doing it too. Yeah,
choice than apathy or sickness.
yeah, I agree with you on that. Well, you know, and plus that, like, kids don't watch TV anymore. You know what I mean? That's the point. Like you said, they'll go on the internet. They'll watch what they want.
Yeah, they'll go on YouTube or whatever. Yeah, it's again, right? On the other show, like next week when I do the Rookie 5 live stream, I will actually be talking about what is called phallocentrism logic, or which is a and this is the insanity of this. This is a form of logic that claims that just basically, you know, like it explains a lot of this insane type of thinking. And you know, it's confined specifically mostly to feminism, but it's also confined, it's also there's a huge woke component to it as well. And yeah, I don't really want to get into all of the details about it, but it's like, yeah, it is inherently self-destructive, and it is inherently, because I mean, it is designed to replay it. And again, right, this a lot of this too has to do with having access to kids, right? And it's not just necessarily about having access to kids for like sexual needs or whatever. It's about planting the seed in these kids at an early enough age that when the reality of the situation happens and they start to get older and they start to figure things out, it takes them a little bit long. Well, here's the thing about that, you know, all of this desperate need of this leftist crowd, of this globalist crowd to have access to kids. I mean, it is just simply a delaying tactic. And you're actually starting to see the consequences of that delaying tactic play out in the current like in that current 18 to 24-year-old demographic of men that are coming out, and they're realizing one person at a time or in large groups that they've been lied to a significant degree, and they're getting really pissed off, right? So anyway, I'm through with this topic. Does anyone else have anything more to add? Because I'm going to move on to the next one.
Just on minor point on, I'm not sure if it's well, I don't know if it's related to or if people are young generation said is getting dispelled from this sort of thing. I mean, there's an argument. There's the long march for the institutions arguments there in relation to once you've instilled a concept into somebody from an early age, they will continue pushing the concept throughout their lives.
Oh well, yes, yeah. I'm speaking from direct personal experience here. Yeah, but when they find out that they've been lied to, and a lot of them will find out that they've been lied to, when that programming is broken, and I know because I have direct personal experience with this, they are going to be really fucking angry. a lot of them are going to be really angry, really betrayed, and it's like, and it's going to be palpable, and it's usually very palpable, and it's very visible, and it is usually very obvious to the other guys around them. And it's like and again, right? It's like each guy has a personal tribe, and we're talking about social dynamics here. A typical male person has an average tribe of about 10 to 15. It usually averages about 11 people, right? Some of those people are going to ask this guy what's going on, and he's going to tell them specifically what's been going on. Now, not all of them are going to believe him, of course, but what's gone on is that now that the seed's been planted in one, this is how the manosphere spread, right? One guy here, one guy here, one guy here. It's just says a counter narrative. People get curious and people start to look, and they find out, and it's like it just kind of like it keeps cascading, and it keeps getting bigger, right? Because more and more men find out what's going on, and the word gets spread around. So it's like, they do push it, and it does ingrain in there, but it does get broken, and when it gets broken, the consequences for the liars are usually not particularly good.
Well, I mean, I think that it's not broken. I think that it's been intentionally oversaturated so these pedophiles can get away with everything they want to get away with. Like Pizzagate came out and everybody made a big joke out of it, and they were talking about Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump. They were talking about all of them. You know, because back then, if you remember, he was a part of the Democrat Party. He's the one that helped pay for her freaking election as freaking New York freaking senator. So was what's his face off of comic books for Marvel.
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee did it. You know, and nobody wanted freaking any of that to freaking be brought up. So they ended up jumping aboard it. All of a sudden, people are freaking just making fictitious freaking statements that Pizzagate was freaking all freaking brought out with WikiLeaks. Come to find out, they were lying about that. They were just duplicating these files, these fake files, and putting them on Reddit. Okay, and now you look at what's going on with the Epstein file or the case. You go on X and there's all of these idiots on there posting all of this nonsense, freaking that was in the emails, but they're worthless. They're not even important. Okay, when it comes to actually being serious, not one post they make on there is serious. And they're doing that though, is what I'm saying, because they want to freaking make it turn into a joke.
Oh well, when I didn't look at Pizzagate and we're kind of really getting off topic here. When
it's really not getting off topic. It's really the truth. I mean, it's like stop turning Epstein case into a freaking joke and take it serious, because there's a crime that was committed there.
Oh, there's definitely. One Nation Under Blackmail. Whitney Webb goes into the extensive Epstein connection to Disney, especially in the early 2000s, which is, by the way, when Disney started going off the rails. But I mean, and here's another thing, and then we're going to have to move on here, because one of the things that came up, and by the way, this, and I'm certain this just hit me like a lightning bolt, because I've talked about this organization before, Den almost became the Netflix. Den almost turned into Netflix. Den started up a couple of years later, right? Like Den would have been, instead of dealing with all the stuff on Netflix, we would be dealing with all the stuff on Den. Now, I've seen a documentary called An Open Secret. In fact, I posted it up at all my social media, my video links, and I might just go do it again. There was a lot of really creepy sexual misconduct stuff going on inside of Den, like sexual assault of teenage boys, etc., etc., etc. And that was all going on round about the time that Epstein was involved in Holly, had his teeth sunk into Disney pretty deep at the time. Coincidence? Maybe, but there's a whole culture there, right?
Yeah.
Just a question on that. Was there any prosecutions, any convictions in
On
relation to that?
Digital Entertainment Network, the founder of Digital Entertainment Network, fled the country,
Mm-hmm.
fled to England, tossed his passport, got a false identity. Nobody knows what's happened to him. Some of the other people have been charged. Most of them have been blacklisted. And again, we're really getting off topic here, by the way. We are definitely starting to get really off topic here. Brian Peck, who was tied in with Nickelodeon, was sent to jail on child sex charges. Guess which company hired him when he got out of prison?
Which one?
Disney.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
I figured I should have figured that whenever you said that, you know.
It was Disney. Disney hired Brian Peck right out of prison, right? And a known sex offender. They hired him right out of prison. Just let that sink in. That's Disney for you, right? Like, I've done an entire RPN show on Disney. Again, just like with Alberta separation, I might have to go and do, again, because the Epstein Files is not something that I've really dived into significantly, but I mean, the Disney stuff and the Hollywood stuff, though, is stuff that I have dived into rather thoroughly. And yeah, no, there's a huge Epstein connection, but it isn't just Epstein. That's the thing, right? It isn't just Epstein that's involved when it comes to Disney. Anyway, does anybody else have anything more to say? Because we need to keep this moving.
Carry on.
I'm good.
All right. Okay. All right. So I've got a couple of videos here. So there was El Menche, I think his name is. There was an actual full-blown shooting event that occurred when El Menche got killed in Puerto Vallarta. The ironic part about this is that when it came to Puerto Vallarta, there was an event going on there called an Acapulco that I've been meaning to get to for quite a while. I just haven't had the money to get to it. But yeah, I'm going to just show you a couple of videos because I have videos about this one as well. Yeah, so first of all, we'll just show you this one here. It's very short. It's only about a minute 27. Okay, and this one, again, there is an event in Puerto Vallarta. It's right at the end of it. It's called an Acapulco. They had moved it from Acapulco to Puerto Vallarta. and they inadvertently got dropped right into the middle of this. This shooting started right towards the end of this event. But yeah, Dan Dix has got a report on this, and here it is.
That's not true. People definitely died. They literally witnessed someone get murdered right in front of their eyes.
Hey guys, so we are accompanied with Dan Dix. He is an activist, a journalist, and is the founder of pressfortruth.ca. And it sounds like you're a filmmaker. You are stuck in Mexico among this insanity of the cartels retaliating, one of their leaders being captured and killed. What's the situation in Mexico been like?
It's been pretty wild, I mean, to say the least. I've been here, I was invited to speak at a conference here in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and I was doing that for the last like 5 days, just doing 10-hour days at this convention center, and I tagged on one extra day for me and my wife to enjoy some time at the beach. And immediately upon getting our feet in the sand, all of a sudden, we started seeing the smoke all around us. We started seeing the fires. And I was like, wow, something big is going on. Something major is happening right now. So I busted out my phone, immediately just jumped right back into work mode, started documenting this, and started getting messages popping off on my phone saying a top cartel guy was just taken out. The police, they're running amok all over the streets. And sure enough, it was absolute mayhem. I stepped outside the hotel room that I'm currently in, and there were burning, smoldering vehicles right on the road in front of me. So at that point, I busted out my camera, did a little bit of a video update to inform people about what was happening here. And that's when a truck full of guys in ski masks and machine guns rolled up on me. I had my heart pounding for a good 10 or 15 seconds there because I didn't know if this was the cartel or if this was just Mexican military or Mexican police. But at any rate, they slowed down, stared at me for a little while, and kept going, thank God. I had a moment there where I was like, is this it? Is this really how I'm gonna end? And so anyways, it was very, very intense for a good solid 6 to 8 hours here in Puerto Vallarta on the 23rd, basically, or whenever it was, the day I was supposed to fly out. And now I'm stuck here. My flight has been canceled, and I'm only now, just in the last hour, figuring out when I'm going to be able to get home. But very, very intense couple of days, and unfortunately, I'm not able to go home anytime soon.
So yeah, what happened here? Yeah, so a drug kingpin by the name of El Menche got killed. It was now, was it done by the U.S. military or was it done by the Mexican military? The official, somebody needs to turn off their mic again. The whole issue around this is the fact that the cartel, and this is something, and again, I haven't gotten into this, but I mean, things have kind of appeared to have died down in Minnesota. What's going on there, though, is that the protesters have stopped violently rioting, and now they're just setting up roadblocks everywhere. And, they're going to need a different tactic to do that. It's like increasingly in the West, what you're seeing are external authorities other than the state exercising power on the streets. And, in particular in blue areas, like say in Toronto or whatever, where the civic governments are sympathetic to them, they're able to get away with that, right? Now, where I live, in Alberta, for instance, when they had the Palestinian protests, they were like over and done, like really goddamn fast, because they knew if they did stuff like block traffic, which they tried to do in Calgary at one point, the police would move in and would like deal with them rather effectively. Same thing happened in Florida. Now, the fact that these cartels felt they had the right to go out and start shooting. Because what ended up happening, and I mean, there was another video that I saw. There were people, because this happened literally the day after the convention finished, is that there was a case of one of the people who attend, one of the speakers at this convention, going to the airport, and cartels targeted this guy's car. Now, fortunately, they were able to extricate themselves out of the vehicle. They were able to get away from the vehicle. Their baggage and the car were completely gutted, like destroyed, burned on the spot. They were lucky to get away with their lives. Everybody at an Acapulco who didn't leave immediately, and that, by the way, if I had been down there, right, if I had been doing 5 days at an Acapulco, right, like, I mean, usually when I go to one of these convention events, I usually take an extra day after the event, because I usually want to just go and like catch the scenery or whatever, just chill out or whatever. So if I had gone down to an Acapulco this year, I would have actually been there for this. Yep. So, but here the key issue here is that yeah, it was a very hairy and scary incident for the people that were involved. The timing with an Acapulco was probably just a coincidence, but I mean, yeah, they were specifically targeting Canadian and American tourists that were down there, which is why Dan Dix was talking about stepping outside of his hotel room, because there's a strip of hotels along the beach at both Acapulco and Puerto Vallarta, where all the tourist hotels were. And there was a lot where they were, and they also did this at the airport too. There were clear attempts to try to take specifically Canadian and American and Canadian hostages and Western hostages at these places, which is why so much of the fighting of this was done in those areas. So yeah, very scary. Glad that most people, glad there were a few deaths. Most of like all of the convention attendees did eventually get out. The tourists that were there all eventually got out. But yeah, kind of a microcosm of what you're probably, again, right? And I got to go back to Minnesota on this, right? You're seeing these NGOs experiment with different ways of disrupting governments, and it's like it's very, very clear too that the aim of these protests isn't to protest Somalis being prosecuted or whatever. The aim of this is to basically shut the city down and to bankrupt it. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark.
I just did a quick Google query asking is the area safe for tourists, and the first thing they references is a Facebook post which was created by the New York Times 5 days ago, which I'm not going to look at because it requires me to log in and create an account. But in summary, in the Google summary, it says, yes, it is safe, despite of what media and AI can show you. Civilians and tourists are not shot.
Yeah, that was, keep in mind that this is
in any single way.
Yeah, keep in mind that was like, this event occurred almost a week ago now. So yeah, they probably cleared things up a bit since then.
It's just the UK government's sites and the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office states that Mexico, FCDO advises against all but essential travel to parts of Mexico. So As far as the British government's concerned, it is Mexico fully is not safe for tourism. But on the specifics of the story, I need to do need to do further research.
Okay, Roger.
Well, I mean, it just for me, I don't even see a comparison between Minnesota and this. Like this goes back to what I was talking about.
Can I just jump in here? It's third parties
Well, I
disrupting
mean,
things. Yeah,
with this whole thing with Mexico and everything, this goes back to what I was talking about. Even with Venezuela, this is with the cartels and stuff. This isn't Donald Trump saying, "Okay, well, I'm gonna bomb freaking buildings and shit." Like this is a half-ass commitment. The only way you're going to take care of any problems in South and Central America is there's got to be boots on the ground. There just has to be. You can't be playing around with a cartel like that because they run at least freaking 80% of freaking the governments down there in those regions. So if you're going to do any kind of military action, you have to have boots on the ground. This is going to have to be like the occupation of Iraq. Okay, but here in the on the American continent, where it should have been instead of freaking Iraq, which is halfway around the world. This is actually one thing I do actually find as beneficial. We have a chance to go in there. We have a chance to get rid of these freaking illegal actions. Maybe set up a freaking good government that's actually legitimate and they can actually control freaking 100% of their entire country rather than just bits and pieces of it. Get rid of a lot of organized crime, which is down there. And, this is at our borders. Everybody keeps talking about freaking illegal immigrants coming to the United States. What do you think they're coming here? Get rid of the problem. And those people down there that are freaking organized criminals and cartels, they are the freaking problem. So not only do we go in there with force, but we put boots on the ground to make sure that they stay gone. That's all I got.
Yep. Very messy. And again, right, like I'm noticing this as I'm going along. Like we are talking about the cartels in Mexico becoming more and more violent on an ever increasing basis. And in the realm of speculation here, I really have to openly wonder if this is not a coincidence, right? Like I have to openly wonder whether this is not a coincidence. Like, are the Mexican cartels receiving external support, which they might well be? I mean, after all, it was the CIA. The CIA has been linked up to drug smuggling for decades now, including the stuff that was going on with the poppy fields in Afghanistan prior to 9/11. So yeah, there's all that as well. But anyway, yeah, let's move on to the next topic here.
Just one quick one. I just checked on the FIFA World Cup. Is going to take place in Mexico in July, and I'm just thinking, is this going to scare off a lot of tourists, a lot of fans from going to that competition?
It might. Keep in mind that is 3 or 4 months down the road. News cycles like this are going to be short. I can almost virtually guarantee there's going to be a very strong criminal element trying to take advantage of all these tourists coming in. Yeah, you could almost set your watch to that one. Anyway, let's get on with the next. One here. So the next one, this one, the Italian government. All right, Giorgia Meloni, and again, there's been some criticism of her as well. Don't know how, because I don't speak Italian or anything. I don't know how legitimate it is. She's been caught contradicting herself at least once. I know she got really pissed off at Justin Trudeau at one point because Justin Trudeau was like literally waving his finger at her, telling Giorgia Meloni how to run her country. But I got a couple of videos here. Keep in mind, the first one is in Italian. Well, it's with subtitles for a lot of it. So yeah, you will have to actually watch the video if you're just listening. You know, she's talking in Italian, obviously, because she's from Italy. But yeah, here we go. Now, by the way, and this runs for 7.5 minutes.
Hi guys, this is Sahar TV, and in today's video we've got some breaking news coming from Italy where the Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, decided she's going to deploy the military to guard her country's borders from third world immigrants, illegal immigrants. Let's have a look at some videos coming from the region. This, by the way, is Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy. Let's watch.
Oggi il governo ha approvato un provvedimento molto significativo per rafforzare il contrasto all'immigrazione illegale di massa e ai trafficanti di esseri umani. I numeri che abbiamo raggiunto in questi anni, meno 60% di sbarchi, più 55% di rimpatri, ci incoraggiano a fare ancora meglio e vogliamo farlo. Così oggi abbiamo finalmente potuto mantenere un altro impegno che avevamo preso con i cittadini nel nostro programma di governo del centrodestra, cioè la possibilità nei casi di minaccia grave per l'ordine pubblico o la sicurezza nazionale, come il rischio di terrorismo, ma anche una pressione migratoria eccezionale, di impedire l'attraversamento delle acque territoriali italiane e di condurre i migranti che sono a bordo di quelle imbarcazioni sottoposte all'interdizione anche in paesi terzi. Una opzione che cammina, che è compatibile con le nuove regole europee che tra l'altro l'Italia ha contribuito a definire, a dimostrazione di come tutto il lavoro che abbiamo fatto in questi anni in Europa. Insieme a questa norma il provvedimento ne prevede molte altre, in particolare proprio per garantire la sicurezza. Ci sono procedure più veloci per espellere gli stranieri che sono stati condannati, ma si ampliano anche i casi in cui si può espellere uno straniero che delinque, aggiungendo reati come violenza pubblica ufficiale, riduzione in schiavitù, maltrattamenti in famiglia, perché se vuoi vivere in Italia devi rispettare le leggi dello Stato italiano oppure vieni espulso.
100%. If you are a guest in their country and you commit a crime, you could be expelled. The same thing should be implemented in the United Kingdom and in France and in Austria and in Germany. It should be implemented everywhere because when you're a guest, you have to abide by the laws of the country that is hosting you. Okay? Very good initiative. So before I show you some videos of the Italian army intercepting illegal immigrants, this video is from Italy, and look what the immigrants are doing to random people.
Oh, what's going on, dude? What are you doing there?
Why would you do this to random bystanders just walking? Why would you do this? Unbelievable. You're a guest on their land and you're disrespecting the people hosting you. Unbelievable. Now take a look at this video. These asylum seekers who came from Africa are throwing away free meals given by the government in government-funded housing facilities. They're throwing the meals because they claim they're not good. So if critics claim that these people moved to Italy because of a hunger crisis, why would you throw away free meals? Let's have a look.
Good, it's not good.
No.
Yeah.
It's not good. A te piace quello che ti danno da mangiare?
No bene. No bene.
Guarda, questo è il cibo vostro?
They don't like this.
Questo no. Allora, il merluzzo non va bene. Ok, this one no.
Yeah. Questo mangiare. Tanto persone no mangiare. Outside country no mangiare, italiano mangiare.
No?
No bene.
Ah no, non vogliono.
Se ne vogliono, dopo
buttano.
Butta.
The point is, they throw away free meals that are given to them for free in a free housing facility. They're abusing the taxes, the hard-earned money that you guys make in Europe. They're abusing it. They're not using it. So if you don't respect what you are given for free, then why are you there? Leave. Now check this out. These are the boats traveling from Africa to Italy, but now they'll be intercepted at sea, as they should be. They know that they're just untouchable, right? They know they can just cross the border, get on Italian soil, and harass and annoy the Italian legal citizens of Italy. Here's the Italian Navy being deployed to protect the borders of Italy. Now, this plane is an F-35 plane, which is an American plane, by the way. Really good plane. That can land like this. Crazy. But it's amazing to see that the Italian government is taking action against these people who are coming illegally to a country. Oh, would you look at this? After long days at sea, suffering, struggling, trying to get to Italy, this Italian authority boat will kick these people away from the Italian territorial water. And of course they're throwing stones.
Tirano dei sassi. Queste sono le pietre che hanno tirato contro la motovedetta per raggiungere ad ogni costo Lampedusa.
The fact that they came with stones all the way from Africa in case they encounter some sort of resistance is so weird. So weird. It's like they knew they were going to be stopped. They knew they were doing something illegal. But hey, this is what should happen all across Europe. No illegal immigrants should come to your country, because the moment they do, they will overpower you in their civilian count. And if Europe will actually try and embrace multiculturalism just like they have been trying to, that will take Europe to the ground. Look at the outcome of France. Look at the outcome of the United Kingdom. Slowly Italy, slowly Germany. And then look at Poland. Look at countries who are refusing to let illegal immigrants come into their countries. You get a coherent ethnic country, you reduce crime, you reduce rape. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm so glad that the Italians are taking action. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. I just launched the Sahar TV merch store. And this isn't just a merch store for me, guys. It's something I've been building intentionally.
Okay, I think we've seen enough of that. Hold on, let me just put this photo up if I can find it. There we go. Yep. So yeah, Georgie Maloney has finally had, again, there was some major kickback from some members of the EU. This is to be expected. I suspect that they're probably just going to go around to Spain now, because we literally just covered Spain, I think 2 weeks ago, where the king of Spain literally just gave 500,000 illegal migrants there the right to vote. By the way, that brought forward an immediate response from other various Western governments, in particular, again, my own backyard, where Daniel Smith specifically brought up parallel votes on top of the actual independence vote that's going to be occurring in October, involving immigration and the province's ability to control it. And the reason why she is doing that is because it became, like I said, you have various government agencies and they are willing. So it's like literally, like she could literally see the writing on the wall, Would Prince Charles be arrogant enough? And by the way, Prince Charles has been accused of being very, very out of touch, right? But would Prince Charles, through the Governor General, issue a royal decree that gave immigrants, landed immigrants, the right to vote in Canada, right?
Sorry.
I don't know whether I could absolutely see them trying to pull that off again, which is the reason why Daniel Smith brought this up. Georgia Maloney, she's decided that enough is enough. You're probably again, you're seeing this track happen with a number of European and like basically states with nationalist, not ethno-nationalist, nationalist governments attempting to reinforce their own borders by using military assets to patrol their own borders. By the way, this is not new. Multiple countries in particular, look at the North-South Korea border to take a look at military forces being used to do border patrol. This is not something that's new. Yet she's getting a lot of flack for this. Again, right? Like I used to be, well, yeah, don't be ridiculous. They're not doing this for ethnic replacement. But I mean, it's like the willful, like for instance, that Scottish girl who like literally had to pull out a hatchet to fight off a creepy pedo that was going after his younger sister, and the fact that Amelia, unfortunately, you weren't here for that. You weren't here for that one, Mark. We had a fairly lengthy discussion about Amelia, and of course, the Red Pill Nation being the Red Pill Nation, we all concluded rather unanimously that we absolutely would bang Amelia if given the opportunity, if she was a real person. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's like you're seeing this happen everywhere, except of course, currently right now, it's not happening in Canada. Like, I did not realize how bad the problem was in Canada, but something like 400,000 immigrants were allowed into the country last year, in proportion to the United States. That would be the equivalent of the United States allowing between 4 and 5 million immigrants to come into its country. So yeah, like the numbers might be smaller, but the per capita is a lot bigger. And the using resettlement. In fact, the Romans themselves, back in their early part of their history, they used resettlement as a tool of aggression back when they were just a couple of city-states around the city of Rome. They routinely used resettlement as a form of aggressive expansionism to start wars and so forth. So, I mean, this is not a new tactic by any stretch of the imagination. And, it's one of those ones that enables the people who are doing it to hide behind walls of legitimacy and that type of thing. But again, right, it's my take on this is good on Georgia Maloney that she did this. And I also have the aching suspicion that this is a lot like, for instance, what Daniel Smith did and what Georgia Maloney did. And I suspect there are probably also going to be another couple of governments in Europe that are also going to start tightening the screws on immigrants. Denmark, in particular, has really turned the heat up on this. Is because the globalist faction is now resorting to quasi-legal methods to give immigrants power, right? Like, I don't know whether the King of Spain actually has the legal authority to grant voting privileges to 500,000 immigrants. But I mean, again, right, in particular with Canada, right? I mean, Danielle Smith had to come out with that referendum on immigration, because she has to take, and by the way, the rest of Canada and Australia and New Zealand and South Africa all have to look at this, and they have to look at what's going on, and they have to seriously consider the fact, well, is Prince Charles going to pull the same kind of tactic with them, through the Governor General, right? So, I mean, this is, like, you're gonna have, again, right? Like, you're gonna have to put your foot down, more or less. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark.
Just out of curiosity, did you see the actress that the aftermath of the Amelia case, and did you see the actress that the 20-something actress that did that Facebook video?
Well, first of all, that was AI, right? I believe that was AI.
Okay.
It wasn't a real person. Right? But I mean, that doesn't matter. We'd still bang, right? It's
yeah. I was just thinking the actress was quite attractive. Just a quick correction. Not Prince Charles, King Charles.
Charles King Charles. Yeah, sorry, I'm still used to calling him.
Easy mistake to make.
Colonial,
which is
you better respect the crown.
Yeah, as a Canadian, especially.
Yeah, I can't believe he did that.
Treason or something.
What do you think you are? Like a freaking United States citizen or something?
I'm an Albertan.
You're an Albertan.
Anyway.
King Charles being another WEF fan. Interestingly enough, I've been watching a series with David, a conversation between David Stark and Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg recently. It's an ongoing thing, all about the British Constitution, and they raised the point of if that was King Charles can speak his mind at this present moment, when the next government comes in, which probably will be some right wing, maybe reform, maybe to conservatives or restore. They will probably try force King Charles to be quiet on these subjects, because in reality, because of how our constitution set up, King Charles can't really speak publicly about these issues. Italy is an interesting case because, like the United Kingdom, like various other European countries, they are a signatory to the European Court on Human Rights, and the CHR has made so many roadblocks. Lawyers have argued upon the CHR to produce so many roadblocks to stop immigrants from leaving the country, or in the UK case especially. So that's interesting, and I'm just wondering if Italy and other countries are going to come out of ECHR at any point within the foreseeable future. Poland and the Czech Republic and Hungary have actually put their foot down and said we will not accept illegal immigration. In fact, as far as I'm aware, Poland has actually armed their border guards and to actually remove illegal immigrants from the country, or remove them from entering the country. And I found it quite amusing, in fact ironic, that during that first video, you had the Italian Prime Minister in front of both the Italian flag and the European Union flag. And as we know, the European Union in itself has criticised countries for not accepting what the EU EC would call their fair share of immigrants. So and I remember things like when Merkel was in the Chancellor of Germany, that she was pushing, and Macron in France, they were, and I believe Macron still is, pushing for fines for countries that do not allow for their quote fair share unquote amount of immigrants. So I don't know. Be interesting to see how this plays out as far as the EU EC and the ECHR are concerned. Yeah. Anyway, Roger, please feel free.
Well, I don't know. It's just right there with Italy. I mean, they're kind of dodgy. You know what I'm saying? Because I did it the other night whenever we were with Tan, and I was talking about the top 5 countries that owned property here in the United States. And there's a lot of misinformation. It was really weird because a lot of them were connected to the UK, because you had the top one was Canada, and then the second one was the Netherlands, and then the UK for 5.
Just to correct you quickly, technically not owned by the countries, but owned by entities within those countries.
No, by government owned. That's what it is.
Okay.
Because
sure.
And Italy was number 4, I believe it was number 4 or number 3. So they're pushing the same kind of rhetoric that's being pushed here in the United States when it comes to a lot of that stuff, and with concerns to the immigration that's taking place in Canada. I actually went through that too with the immigration numbers, and like with George Bush, he actually had approximately like 8 million apprehensions while he was in office, and then you go on to Barack Obama. He actually had approximately 3.9 million between 2009 and 2017.
Well, yeah, here is the thing. CNN actually did an ass-kissing piece about ICE back in 2012. Continue.
And Donald Trump has between 2000 and in his first term between 2017 and 2021, he had 2.4. And believe it or not, freaking Biden had 11 million nationwide. So that's the thing that I've been pointing out when it comes to this whole immigration thing. Don't be fooled about a lot of the crap that you're hearing, because the truth is freaking the whole immigration issue isn't really being taken care of like it's supposed to be. They're giving you false numbers. They're cranking out tons of misinformation, and all of this is being pushed by political parties. It's not actual facts. The State of the Union the other day, whenever Donald Trump did his speech, I actually turned around and pointed out a lot of the stuff that he said that wasn't true, especially when it comes to trade over commodities and food and stuff like that. Like he point blank, bold faced lied on national television about all the great things he did. You know what I mean? So all I can say in that whole deal is don't buy into the lies, especially when it comes to Italy. They are very, very, they're a nationalist country. Very, very nationalist. And I mean, in the bad way, nationalist too. So.
Sure. Well, yeah, these things can change. On as I was talking to you on Friday, our discussion on Friday, in relation to Trump and what you claim to be lies, I made the argument that what sort of measurements is he using? I mean, I used the example of the British CPI versus RPI, the Consumer Price Index versus Retail Price Index.
Well, that's the whole thing with Donald Trump. He's not presenting evidence. He's just throwing shit out there like it's actually true, and he's not backing it up with any kind of documentation or nothing. He gets on State of the Union and he says that stuff. But then when you go to freaking the USDA and you actually look at the freaking count on everything, you find out that everything he said was just completely not true.
Well, I mean, I got to point out, and I'm not taking Trump's side here. Barack Obama and George W. Bush and Joe Biden, they were like all doing that. Like I can remember one particular speech where Joe Biden talked about the wage gap, and it was not Joe Biden, but Barack Obama, and what he was quoting, and it was like we were like listening to him, and we're like, "Are you stupid, man? Like what you just said can be debunked with this is like 2014. It can be debunked with a 30-second Google check, right? It's not about the reality; it's about the perception of reality."
That's what they're pushing, and that's what I'm trying to say. Don't fall for this crap. Just because you see it on TV, don't feed into that crap, because there's actual sources that you can check this stuff out. You know, I was having a conversation with Nancy the other night, and like she said something that I thought was pretty profound, because she honestly believes that you can't fact check without media sources. And I'm like, no, that is completely wrong, dude. It took me, I should have said it during the show, but I caught on to what she had said afterwards, and I was thinking, you know, that is just completely bogus, dude. Freaking, you know, you can find this information out yourself. You don't need media sources and outlets to freaking tell you freaking this is the way it is and this is the way it is. You can literally go and find the documentation straight from the government without even going to any kind of news sources. You know? And that's what I tell people. I was like, don't feed into this crap, because everybody on the internet and on television and in the media are lying to you. I don't care who they are. They've got some kind of narrative that they are freaking saying right now, and it's really, really, it's polarized. You know what I mean? It's very hostile, and you're not going to hear anything.
As I pointed out to you the other day, is sure, everybody's got their own biases. That's something that we agree on. But some people are more honest about that, and more truthful than others.
I don't buy it.
You shouldn't rush everybody with the same sort of sticks.
These days I can, because like they're all dirty little swines that are just wanting freaking attention. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna. I was telling you the other night, freaking we got this freaking politician from Kentucky who's running for freaking Senate, and he had the audacity to freaking run with Charlie Kirk as the last person, or him being the last person Charlie Kirk supported. Just putting it right up there, vote for me because Charlie Kirk freaking supported me. You know what I mean? And he's doing this on national television. He's actually doing something good. That is just the worst freaking. That's the most distasteful thing you can do is run off of a dead person's freaking personality, you know? And that's what I mean, his own freaking platform is saying or talking about that stuff, how people are taking advantage of him now that he's passed away. He's gotten more publicity now that he's dead than what he ever did when he was alive. And they're taking advantage of it.
Actually, well, it was as I mentioned after the death in the UK. Before the assassination, Charlie Kirk was not really a well-known individual, but after that totally changed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Charlie Kirk was well known in alt circles. He was well known. He might not have been that big of a name outside of North America, but he was a well-known person in North America. Like, absolutely.
He wasn't mainstream though. That's the thing.
Oh well, I mean, neither is Joe Rogan, but we all know Joe Rogan is more establishment than a lot of these so-called mainstream people ever will be.
I knew about Joe Rogan back when he was on a radio show, dude, talk radio, with what's his face, the guy that ended up getting killed by his wife.
But again, you're both talking from a North American perspective.
Yeah, I know. We just
from a wider.
We do that for a reason because, like, with the UK, man, you guys are just like potato. You're bread eaters, dude. That's all you do. You eat like, and I'm really kind of thinking that your whole take on bread in England is all speculative. Because I've heard from other people in England that your bread is freaking not really all that great.
Maybe they don't use a good baker.
Well, they are from the northern part of England too, so like they're not from Devon like you are. You're down there where everything's quality.
Okay, are we done with this topic?
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to keep it moving.
No, you don't.
Sure. Yeah, you do. Carry on.
He likes hearing you talk. That's the thing about it. He loves hearing you talk. You notice, like, he's always wanting you to say something, and then he ignores me. It's like I think he's turning into what V is. He's falling in love with you, Mark Edworthy.
Okay, let's move on. All right, so this is the Canada section here. I was kind of hoping that Rearson might be able to jump in on this one, but I got a couple of like every other topic I've done today. I got a video for this one. I got a couple of videos for this one. I will. This is Matt Genereux justifying why he turned into a sniveling little traitor. I think you'll love this.
Largely due to the family reasons, but quite simply couldn't sit on the sidelines after seeing what the Prime Minister was ambitious agenda he was undertaking across the country and across the world. And quite honestly, it was the speech in Davos where you took everything head on, and I think for me that's where a lot of the world changed. I think it opened a lot of eyes for Canadians, Albertans, Edmontonians, just how serious this now.
Yeah, no, Mark Carney didn't say shit in Davos. Again, right? This is another one of those propaganda tactics where they will just say it and hope that you're too stupid to fact check. Anyway, Mario, this is a well-known conservative, TikTok and Instagram commentator. He has a much more nuanced take on this sniveling little shit.
Guys, this is massive and breaking news. We have another floor crossing. Mark Carney just posted that he's honored to welcome Matt Genereux to our caucus and newest member of Canada's new government. And he said for more than a decade, Matt has been entrusted by Albertans to help shape a stronger future. And if you don't remember, this is the guy that I told you was likely to cross the floor. I mentioned this to you months ago. There's several people that said, no, Mario, he would never do that. Well, he just did. My sources were right. I told you so. And now we have another floor crosser. Guys, this stuff should not be allowed. If it were me and I had the choice, I would make sure that anyone who wanted to cross the floor would trigger a by-election so the constituents of that riding could make that decision on behalf of themselves. They don't need a member of parliament crossing the floor, campaigning for many years under conservative policies, and all of a sudden deciding selfishly to cross the floor. This is a betrayal to all of Canada and to the constituents in Matt's riding. It's disgusting. It's deplorable. Guys, this is insane.
So, yeah, Matt Genereux, by the way, is a MLA or an MP in the city that I live in, which is Edmonton, down south. Obviously, it's kind of like a richer neighborhood in Edmonton. Now, the whole thing with this particular scenario is that technically Matt Genereux's crossing unofficially gives Mark Carney a majority. So effectively, barring keep in mind, there's 3 or 4 Liberal MPs that are going to be holding by-elections in the next year or so. So for all intents and purposes, though, Matt Genereux's crossing over to the Liberals de facto gives Mark Carney, at least temporarily, a majority government. He has now got an unelected majority government. Everybody was so concerned that somebody from the NDP was going to flip over to the Liberal Party. Here's the thing, right? The NDP, New Democrat Party MPs that won their ridings, they won in ridings like, for instance, the riding that I live in, for instance, is always been solidly NDP, New Democrat Party. And it's like, for the NDP MPs to walk over and cross the floor and join the Liberals, I mean, they would be basically like outright turning on their own constituents, because like the ridings that the NDP won were the solid, absolute, guaranteed NDP ridings, I think with possibly one exception on the northern coast of British Columbia. So the whole thing around this is, and here's the other thing. Unlike the United States, Canada does not have recall legislation. So for instance, if an MP decides to cross the floor, there is no recall petition that you can put out to force an election. The only way an election can be called is to wait for the prime minister to call for another election, or the prime minister stays in power until the election automatically kicks in, which, by the way, does not have to be called until May of 2029 at this point. So yeah,
same situation as in the UK.
Yep, there's no way of doing it. The issue that Matt Genereux is facing is, first of all, and this is with the other three, the other two conservative MPs that also chose to cross the floor, is that when it comes time for another election to be held, they're not going to get this. They're not going to get the support that they thought they were going to get. Also, because they did it in such a turncoat way, right? Like nobody is going to trust them. Like no one is going to trust these guys. And Matt Genero, by the way, effectively got bribed to go over. Like he's getting a significant financial boost by crossing the floor to join the Liberal Party at this point. Here's the other thing about that is that, I mean, pending the independence vote in Alberta in October, the Matt Genero might not have his seat all that long, because Matt Genero is going to have to go, and he's going to have to, like, as soon there's going to be the vote, it's either going to be yes or no. And if the vote is yes for independence, and I'm starting to think that it's really leaning that way, again, right? I understand that Mark Edworthy was saying earlier, well, you can't judge by the numbers on Facebook. But yeah, I can judge by the number of people that are attending the rallies, though. And barring some real election shenanigans, which probably isn't going to happen with Daniel Smith running the show, if Alberta elects to leave, there's going to be a transition period, probably about 6 months to a year, maybe even less, where Alberta's going to go into negotiations to figure out who does what and who gets what, right? But I mean, Genero is then out of a seat, and he will never be able to run for any type of political office in Alberta. And he won't be able to hold any type of a federal seat because Alberta will no longer be part of Confederation. And so, yeah, there's a whole, I mean, if Matt Genero did what he did, hopefully, he like, I mean, if you're good, I mean, everybody's got his price. Like, I'm hoping that, I mean, whatever price that Matt Genero took, that it's enough for him to potentially retire on, because it's like, yeah, he's not going to, he's not going to be able to run for any type of a political office ever again. Like, it's going to be, best case scenario with Matt Genero is that he holds the MP office until 2029, and then he gets the Liberal nomination for that riding in Edmonton, and he gets his ass voted out, because it's like he turned on the voters that elected him, and he also gave Mark Carney the majority that he was looking for. And that is, like, I mean, if you want to go into the separatist circles, what Matt Genero has effectively done is that he's given, he's almost guaranteed that Alberta is probably going to separate. Because, I mean, yeah, Mark Carney has the majority now, but I mean, if he thinks he's going to be able to get heavy-handed with restrictive legislation, especially to curb the alt media in Canada, he's in for a rather deep surprise. Because almost, like, I mean, I'm not going to say, well, I think Daniel Smith is going to fix this problem. I mean, yeah, look at what Daniel Smith just did on immigration. If Mark Carney pushes forward with all of these censorship bills, I suspect Daniel Smith is going to have to go and invoke the notwithstanding clause on these censorship bills just to maintain a level playing field during the referendum. So, yeah, I would say not only is Alberta money keeping the country afloat at this point, but Alberta separation is the thing that is preventing Mark Carney from turning Canada into another version of England, because it's like almost every single major bill that Carney has brought into the House of Commons has been about censorship and more state control. Like, he makes a lot of noise about the economy, but the truth of the matter is that most of his bills are about censorship and control. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark.
On the point of the censorship bills, Trudeau's done quite a lot already.
Yeah, Trudeau's done a lot. Mark Carney picked up right where Trudeau left off.
And it's worth remembering that there have been there are mainstream media outlets in Canada that's receiving state assisted funding. But I was just thinking, referendums are not necessarily legal. Canadian government say, well, you have had this referendum. Thank you for your input. We're not going to take any notice of it. So,
well, I mean, the referendum for Britain to leave the European Union seemed pretty legitimate.
But again, there's a possibility that the government would just say, "Screw you," really.
Well, there is a possibility they could do that. That would be a very serious mistake if they did.
What's I going to say? I had another point I was going to say, but come on. But on the point of by-elections, individual MPs moving from one party to another party. In the UK, we've had quite a number of situations now where we've seen Conservatives move to Reform, and there is an argument there to say that that should automatically trigger a by-election, but there is another argument to say that you do not vote for an individual, you vote for a party. And therefore, if somebody moves, then if an individual MP moves from one party to another party, that's not relevant because you voted for the party rather than the individual. Well, there was that argument, but yeah, that's all I've got at this present moment. That's all I can think about at this present moment. Roger?
Well, I stick with the whole thing you were talking about. I mean, they've been doing this for a while, and I mean, censorship. Yeah, that's fine if freaking that's what you want to go after, you know. But there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now in Canada. This thing about censorship is one thing, but I think Canadians really need to start figuring out exactly how much freedom they actually have. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, because it sounds like they're waking up to a reality that they weren't aware of. That's been going on ever since Canada first started. To be honest with you, I don't think they're losing freedoms. I think they're starting to realize that they never had them, and that they want them, you know. So if people in Canada want to actually have a real constitutional government that freaking respects the individual as well as the freaking group conscious, then they're going to have to start thinking about maybe looking at some of the stuff that's been pushed on them, get rid of a lot of that socialist crap that's happening. Because it is, I mean, Canada is just saturated with socialism. It's pathetic, and they're getting away with it, and they're doing it from stuff that they've been doing since the beginning of the freaking 20th century, all the way up until now, you know. So we were talking on our show, me and Mark were about canonizing constitutions, making it canonized, you know. When you turn around and you actually have a constitution that can't be changed because it's codified, then it makes things harder for freaking government officials to come in and switch things the way they want to on a whim. You know, they have to go through a procedure, and That's what's worked here in the United States. We don't have the perfect government, but we at least have a government that can't change laws, constitutional laws at that. Whenever they
I think
have a
First Amendment. Or, you know my modification. My argument is in Britain. Well, why can't people read 2-3 different documents? People are not that stupid that they have to have everything in one single document. But
with Article 5 here, what's the cool part about even like amendments? To add an amendment to the Constitution, you have to have a constitutional convention. Okay, and in order for that amendment to be passed, you have to have a huge percentage of freaking Congress approve it. In each state, they have to go through and have each state approve whatever amendment you want added to the Constitution. So if and when they make that freaking proposal, it has to be written exactly the same in each state. They can't freaking start changing things around, saying we want this and then change it later. It has to be exactly the same. And when every state has a chance to go through and look at these proposals, if they accept it, then it becomes a part of the amendment. If it doesn't, then it doesn't, and it's a percentage of the states that have to approve of it. You know what I mean? So there's a really strenuous process that takes place even there, and that's what people need. They don't need these fast, freaking easy decisions being made. Okay, they need to have They need to have a government that's freaking patient and they're able to freaking think about the laws that they're putting into place before they actually put them into place.
Just on the point of states, the political landscape is different in Canada and the UK compared to the US. We haven't got a federalized sort of state.
Not yet. Not yet. You guys keep playing your games, you're gonna have one.
Oh yeah, dude. There was
Well,
there's the way things are going. Alberta leaves. It's going to trigger, at least at least inside Canada, it's going to trigger. I mean, there's 3 other provinces that are also seriously considering leaving. And if basically, and this is what I was getting back to right at the very beginning of the situation here. Effectively, at this point, and this just absolutely blows my mind that Trudeau was willing to fuck with that system to the point where Albertans got pissed off enough to say that, yeah, we're out of here. BC and Ontario also contribute money to the equalization program, but not nearly as much. And by the way, right when the petition first came out, there were people going on these pro-separatist boards desperately trying to minimize the amount that Alberta was paying into it. And they were like saying, oh, well, look at this. Alberta is only the 4th largest economy in Canada, right? Like you're not carrying anything. And then people went out and found people went out and actually found the stats that shows that Alberta has been paying more money into the equalization program than all of the other provinces put together. And most of it, by the way, was going to Quebec. So, that's what I was talking about the willful lies that I keep encountering on this, right? They keep just posting this stuff up and hoping that there's one guy, I'm not going to mention his name because he's just, I call him a dishonest asshole. He just posts up lie after lie after lie after lie after lie, and he keeps getting shot down. And, he keeps coming back anyway. And what was happening up until about 2 weeks ago is that there were like just hordes of anonymous posters coming in and posting up misrepresentations about what was actually going on until the administrators of these separatist sites put their foot down and basically did not allow anonymous posters to post up on their boards anymore. Anyway, like we're kind of getting.
Okay, I just just thinking at this present moment, but the possibility of irrelevant of which way, potentially triggering some sort of civil unrest.
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. In order for Canada to basically hold Alberta in place at the end of a barrel of a gun, they would need external support. They're not going to get it from the U.S., which means that they would have to bring the Chinese in. If the Canadian government brought Chinese soldiers and allowed Chinese soldiers to occupy territory immediately north of the United States, Trump would definitely act. He would have to act. So yeah.
How big is the U.S. military? Oh, sorry, Canadian military.
The Canadian military's only got about 90,000 soldiers. Like it's not. It would be enough to control the major metropolitan areas, and that would be about it. Right? They wouldn't be able to control the countryside.
The way things are going too with England, like they're not going to be able to get very much support from England either, because we were talking about that just the other night, weren't we, Mark? You guys have like 3 battleships or some shit.
Something like that. I think aircraft carriers. I think I was talking about. Yeah. I'm just thinking the military plus the police forces.
Well, the RCMP is a national police force. The only issue is that they, unlike a lot of the other police forces, specifically the ones in the United States, the RCMP has not been militarized nearly as much as other police forces in North America have been. Like,
you don't really need guns, though. You can.
They've got.
You can threaten batons.
The RCMP has got guns. The only issue with banning guns in Canada is that there's a country immediately south of Canada that's got more guns than people, who will quite happily start gun running across the border to supply Canadians with all the guns that they will ever need. If they try imposing their will on Canada at the end of the barrel of a gun. In fact, there will probably be a significant number of Americans who will feel it is their patriotic and obligatory duty to arm Canadians because of what's going on. And you got to understand something, because I mean, no disrespect, Mark, you don't live here, but I mean, the integration that Canada and the U.S. have with each other goes beyond just the fact that they're neighbors. I mean, like, I have relatives in the States. I have friends in the States. There's huge business ties and connections that go beyond just government sources that are tied in with the U.S. And again, right, I cannot see the U.S. just idly sitting by while the Canadian government allows Chinese troops to roll into Canada to enforce political policy inside their own borders. Like, the U.S. just will not allow it, period. Not on Canada, not with a straight up, not with a member of NATO, not with a Western country, not with a country that they have, not when they have a mutual defense treaty called NORAD. I mean, it's just not, like, the U.S. is just not gonna allow it, period. You know, I mean, that's the thing about Canada. I mean, the consensus in Canada is that how bad is it going to get? It's going to only get as bad as the U.S. allows it to get, and then they will step in. That's how bad it's going to get in Canada. That's the thing about having a superpower immediately south to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, are we done with this topic? Because we need to move on here. No more closing comments? Okay.
No. Canada sucks.
Allegedly.
What?
Fucking eat horse meat.
Are you done?
No, I'm not done. Heartland sucks too.
Yeah, Heartland sucks. You will get no argument out of me about that one. Okay, are we done now? Because I got to move on here. We got one more topic.
No, we're never done. I'm done.
For the moment.
Okay, so topic number 6, and Roger, this is in your backyard. So, and again, while it is true that a lot of people in our sphere don't give a flying fig about sports, the bottom line is that there's a lot of people that do. And I got a couple of videos because, this is just absolute. And again, this is right in Roger's backyard that this is happening. The Chicago Bears, let me emphasize this, the Chicago Bears, the NFL team that plays in Chicago at Soldier Field, is moving to Indiana. And I got a couple of videos that demonstrate exactly how insanely stupid the local leadership got about this. And I just got to throw out one thing. Well, no, I'll just let the video speak for itself, and then I'll respond afterwards.
Chicago Bears are screwed because the Bears, as you know them right now, might not exist in a couple years. So the Chicago Bears currently play at Soldier Field, as everyone knows, and they played there since 1971. But for a couple years now, the Bears have been wanting to build a new stadium, especially one with a dome, so they can host a Super Bowl. And back in 2023, they dropped $197 million on this huge plot of land in Arlington Heights, and this was going to be the new stadium's location. And the Bears plan to spend $2 to $3 million of their own money, no taxpayer money, to build this stadium and the complex around it. And by the way, if you want more crazy sports content like this, make sure you follow. However, the Bears did ask the state of Illinois for help for roads, infrastructure, and tax certainty. But according to the Bears presidents, the state of Illinois is just like, sorry, bud, but it's not a priority for us in 2026. Figure it out. So the Bears president says, all right, fuck you then. We're going to go look for somewhere else. And he even said they're expanding their search for a new place to Northwest Indiana. So not only will the Bears move out of Chicago, they're going to move to another state. And Indiana has been begging for the Bears to just look at them for months, maybe even years. They even signed a bill back in August that would attract more professional sports teams into the state. And now that the Bears are saying this and actually contemplating moving to Indiana, the governor is pissed. He says it's an absolute slap in the face to Bears fans because he's a Bears fan himself, but at the same time, he's not changing his stance on a new stadium. So if this guy doesn't end up changing his mind in the next probably 6 to 12 months, your beloved Chicago Bears may end up becoming the Gary Grizzlies in a few years. As always, let me know what you think.
By the way, Henrik is apparently living in Gary, Indiana. But here's the other one.
The city of Chicago is dead. It died a terrible death today because no real city in America in 2026 can call itself a top-notch major sports town and lose out on football. The Chicago Bears are moving to Hammond, Indiana. The Chicago Bears have now made Indiana a legitimate NFL state. So congratulations to the fine people of Indiana. You're now a minor league sports town. And I'm not saying that to start a fight with the fine people of Chicago.
You sure?
I love Chicago.
Do you?
Chicago's one of my favorite cities
I
to
love
visit.
Chicago. Very good food.
I go to Chicago every summer. I love the city of Chicago. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I'm sorry now. I mean, I might as well be going to Nebraska. Might as well be going out to Oklahoma. Might as well be going to New Mexico. Mexico. Chicago is not you can't take Chicago seriously now. Like if I owned a business in Chicago, I'd have U-Haul out front right now. I'd be packing up my boxes, trying to find a major league city to live in. Because Chicago, you just lost the NFL to Hammond, Indiana.
Okay, like I said, there have been, first of all, I got to point out a couple things. One, there are NFL teams that don't actually play in the cities that they're named after. Both the New York Jets, you're going to find this ironic, both the New York Jets and the New York Giants play out of Meadowlands Stadium, which is in New Jersey. Keep in mind, New Jersey is just across the water from New York City. So that's not that big of a reach. Oakland has at times played their games outside of Oakland. It's not, again, there are other professional teams. For instance, the Washington Capitals, their arena is actually in Maryland. So it's not like this is something that is new or unheard of or is like suddenly a big shocker. What is the big deal about this particular move is that, it's not, and I had to point this out, there have been arrogant owners over the years that have made like ridiculous levels of demands of cities, and cities have said no. The Chicago Bears did not go that route. The Chicago Bears made a legitimate attempt to find land for a new stadium. Hold on a second. Close to the city of Chicago, and then was willing to work with the governor and the city of Chicago to help them with the infrastructure to get to this new stadium. And the city just went, nah. But I mean, they don't have the money again, right? I get it. A lot of people who are watching this particular style of podcast say, what's the big fucking deal? It's just sports. Well, you know what? I hate to break it to you, but there are entire networks devoted to sports for a reason. Yeah, you can go, oh, well, it's bread and circuses for the masses. Yeah, people still fucking care. Hate to break it to you, man. People still care, right? So the whole thing with Chicago is that, I mean, now that Chicago, the Bears are actually seriously considering doing this, now the state and the city are really pissed. And it was like, well, you know what? We went to you. We gave you a proposition. We asked you for help, and you didn't want to give us any. What the hell were you expecting? And say what you want to about bread and circuses and that it's just sports and it's just a fucking distraction and nobody really gives a shit, but obviously people do. A lot of this appears to be falling on, again, a city and a state government that are corrupt, that are broke, that are incompetent. And I mean, they don't even want to keep. And by the way, the NFL, the National Football League, is the sports league in the United States. Like nobody even comes close to the NFL. And, they can't even, they don't even care enough to keep their NFL team in their own state. Like, again, right? it's just sports, and yeah, bread and circuses and that type of thing. It's like, yeah, but I mean, I hate to break it to you, man, but people do care about this sort of thing. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark.
I'm in the opinion that the bread and circus argument, but again, I appreciate that people take sports seriously. I was just doing some research on who owns the Chicago Bears, and a majority owned by the McCaskey family. 77% owned, which is approximately about $6 billion US dollars valued at the present moment, and minority owner, the Wine family, at something like 23%. I'm thinking, well, considering that the Chicago Bears is technically a private sector organization, their owners can move them from wherever they want to wherever they want to.
Well, yeah, exactly. The Bears though have been in Chicago for over a century. You know, like
Yeah,
I don't think I think if Man decided that they were going to move to Scotland, I think people in Manchester would be righteously pissed.
Indeed. Chicago Bears was founded in 1920. This was which was founded in 1920. I don't know. I can see that there is a sort of local, like English football, like British football. There is localized sort of tribalism and pride in individual teams. Personally, I'm not a big fan of English British football stroke soccer at all, but that's just my personal thing. But yeah, at the end of the day, people like the McCaskies and Ryans have the money, and even if it may bring them bad press for a short term, they can use the money for what they wish to, as long as that is legal.
Yep, exactly. The city of Chicago did this to themselves. Okay, are you done? Because Roger here is from Chicago, and again, Roger might not be a football fan, but yeah, we are talking about the Bears here.
No, with the Bears, first of all, the thing that's really unique with the Bears is, and a lot of people aren't aware of this, but it's been a family-owned freaking team for pretty much the whole time. They do have shareholders and stuff, but the majority shareholders are all family, so that's something to keep in mind.
Like I pointed out, the McCaskey family and the Wine family.
Right. That's the reason why I brought it up, because that's something I would have forgotten to mention. And that is a big deal, because not too many football teams can actually say that about themselves since the sport has started, here in the United States. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. I think a lot of people are bent over this because of what I was saying the other night on Naroki's other show too, because it's more like the Bears are an icon. You know what I mean? Because the Bears aren't worth shit, to be honest with you. Like, they're not going to win the Super Bowl anytime soon. You know what I mean? I think the last time they won the Super Bowl is
that was 1986. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that team. I even remember that music video they put out.
Right. So I mean, it's more that they're an icon, and when you think of the Chicago Bulls, you think of Chicago Bulls versus Pittsburgh, the Green Bay Packers. You know what I'm saying? You had Refrigerator Perry and frickin', all of those guys.
Walter Payton, Mike Ditka. Yeah, I remember that team.
I mean, it was so celebrated that they actually did a rivalry freaking game every year to celebrate it. You know what I mean? Because of those two teams. So that's something to kind of think about. But when it comes to freaking the team, you know, I don't like Pritzker. I hate Pritzker with a passion. Dude's just a fat slob who freaking tries to freaking uh, outshow him or show himself. You know, like brag about how great he is. He kind of reminds me of a Democrat or a Democrat version of Donald Trump. And like when Donald Trump said he was going to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, he said that the Michigan Lake is now the Illinois Lake. You know, he literally went on television and said that shit. But the whole thing I wanted to bring up was there is friction there with him. But you also have to understand that it goes both ways. Like not only does the freaking Bears want the stadium, which makes sense, but they also want a tax freeze for freaking, I think it's 20 years. They want a tax freeze or on the land, you know, so that freaking they don't have to pay taxes for the property that the stadium goes on. And this is going to come out of the freaking taxpayers' pockets. You know, so that caused a lot of backup with a lot of this. So I'm not going to say that freaking the Bears are really innocent of anything, to be honest with you. And another thing to take into consideration, this could be just a lot of hype because their lease on the stadium that they're playing in now doesn't end until 2033. So they can talk all the stuff they want to, but getting out of that lease agreement that they have, because they don't own that stadium, they're leasing it, and to get out of that, they're going to have to freaking pay some money. So, is it worth paying the money to freaking get out of that agreement so they can go to Indiana and be a part of the Indiana Bears? You know, so that's all I got.
Okay, so we got one more, and we did cover this on the show yesterday, but we're covering it again, but from a different perspective. And here's the video on it. So here we go.
The original tweet was from ESPN PR. ESPN to launch Women's Sports Sunday, debuting this summer. It's a first of its kind weekly primetime franchise showcasing the best women's sports in premium windows. Clay Travis retweeted this. It says ESPN announces we are replacing Major League Baseball's Sunday night primetime window with the WNBA. This doesn't shock me because ESPN has hated baseball for a very long time. And I can say that I'm not the only one that absolutely hates the Sunday night baseball announcers.
Okay, to be fair, I enjoy watching baseball live. It's a very cerebral sport when you're sitting in the bleachers watching the game live. I've occasionally been able to watch baseball on TV. It's just not as interesting to me. It's just probably because I was raised on the NHL. I'm used to something moving just a little bit faster. The issue with doing this is, first of all, we are talking about ESPN here. ESPN is, I mean, one of the most woke broadcast. ESPN has got to be one of the most fucking woke broadcasters out there. They totally bought into BLM. They quite happily ran up the hype about how the U.S. women's soccer team wasn't getting the same amount of money as the U.S. men's team, even though, you know, women's soccer just does not sell. And they quite have that. and it looked real legitimate at first because they had when the U.S. won the World Cup here, not the men's World Cup, the women's World Cup here. The one of the I can't remember whether they did it the last time around, but they did maybe the time before. Like they were all going back in, and like all of a sudden you have this crowd standing around this one gate, and they're all screaming equal pay, equal pay, equal pay, and it was like it looked like a big crowd until you pulled away from it, and then you realized it was nothing but AstroTurf. The WNBA has not turned, and I pointed this out. I pointed out the concept of the slippery slope when it comes to women's sports. The WNBA has not turned a profit. There are individuals that are fucking delusional and they don't get the ratings. The stadiums don't sell out, with very rare exceptions. And there's a couple of sports where women do really well, like tennis, for instance, and sometimes with golf, they will sometimes do okay. But most women's sports don't rate well. They don't sell nearly as much as the men's side does. And their argument on this was, well, that's because we don't have a league. We don't have leagues of our own. Well, okay, now they got leagues of their own in both ice hockey and basketball. I can't see women doing football or baseball, but I mean, like ice hockey and basketball, there's women's leagues. They're not performing pretty well. I mean, I think the hockey's maybe doing okay, but they're being really frugal with their budgets, right? But the NBA has not turned a profit at any time. The WNBA has not turned a profit at any time. So then their next argument is, well, you're not giving us a primetime slot for us to showcase. Okay, well then we will give you we're not getting the money because we're not getting in the ratings because you keep putting us in as filler material. So okay. Of course, ESPN decided to follow on the sword and replace baseball with WNBA. And again, there are some very mixed opinions about baseball, right? I understand that. This screams out, get woke, go broke, right? Now, I'm going to say that with a caveat here, because what's going to happen is that it's another slippery slope, and it's like, well, okay, now they got the WNBA on Sunday nights, right? The ratings are not going to be there, and it's still not probably going to justify them getting more money. So they're going to make another excuse, and they're just going to keep pushing it because, again, right, in particular, intersectional feminists don't give a shit about facts, right? It's just rhetoric for them, and it's entitlement for them. That's really all it is with intersectional feminists. So they will keep pushing on this, and how they will push on this is because while the actual Sunday night event probably won't do very well, there are going to be a couple of individual women, and I said this on the show 2 days ago, that will probably benefit directly from the exposure that they're getting. Here's the thing about that. And again, no, Roger, I'm not posting out photos of Michaela DiMaccia again.
Just spell her name properly so that I can Google it. Put it in your chat thing. I want to find out if this girl has naked pictures.
Oh, she does. She does.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Dude, and the amazing part is she's a hockey player.
Don't know the person you're talking about, so.
Isn't that the one, the blonde chick?
Yeah, Michaela DiMaccia. Hold on a second.
She's a hockey player, right?
Yeah, she's a hockey player. Well,
Wow.
she was.
No teeth missing, nothing. Just solid.
Oh, she's a goaltender, dude. The goaltenders usually don't get pucks to the face because they're wearing a cage.
I would do it on purpose just so I could touch her face. Dude, like, she is freaking majorly hot. I couldn't believe that. And she reminds me, I mentioned it last night or night before. Like, it reminds me of, what's his face? Dude that created Microsoft.
Okay, yeah, but Bill Gates.
Bill
Yeah,
Gates' daughter
okay.
is the same way. Like, just, it's really weird how these women, especially her being a freaking hockey player, how they just have everything in their perfect place.
Well, first of all, she didn't. Oh, first of all, she didn't.
She didn't want.
She
You're getting excited.
she didn't make it to the professional leagues. She ended up going the way of. Oh, by the way, she also has an OnlyFans. Which channel are you watching on? Because I posted up Michaela Damache's Instagram on all three.
Okay. I just needed to know how to say her name.
Anyway,
I've never seen this girl before in my life, dude. She is beautiful. That's all I gotta say. She really is.
Oh yeah, she's hot AF. She's one of the few tens that's out there. You will get no argument from me about that. Here's the thing, right? This exposure that these women are going to be getting, there are going to be a couple of women out there that are going to directly benefit from this exposure. The only thing is, it is not going to be a fucking battle axe like Megan Rapinoe that's going to benefit from this. It's going to be the women that looked like Michaela Damache or Anna Kournikova or one of those or someone like that, you know, like somebody who actually looks good and has an athletic body. Those are the ones that are going to benefit from this. It's not going to be the ugly battle act with it's not going to be the Brittany Griners of the world that are going to benefit from this, right? And again, right? And like I said, on the next Naroki 5 live stream, I am going to be talking about the dysfunction and the self-destructive aspects of intersectional feminism and what it's going to do. And it's like, yeah, they will use those women though to try to promote this issue. And they will keep pushing on this. Even though they don't have the numbers to back it up, they will keep pushing about this equal pay issue to the point, if allowed to, where professional leagues will actually have to fold because they simply won't be able to. These women won't get it, will get it, that they won't deserve it, and the leagues will go bankrupt because they can't afford to pay women that type of thing because they're not bringing in the types of ratings or audience that justify the wages that they're getting. But that's intersectional feminism for you. They are completely devoid of logic, right? So again, right? Hey, it's probably gonna be get woke, go broke but I'm also gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say it this Sunday night NBA. It's going to last for a very, very long time before it ends, right? ESPN is owned by Disney. We have discussed Disney already, right? It explains a lot of why ESPN does what ESPN does. But with that, I'm going to turn it over because we are pushing 3 hours here. So, and I have to actually get ready for work here in about half an hour here. So, Mark, take it away, and then Roger, close it out.
Yeah, I was going to say to bring up the Walt Disney point. ESPN is owned technically by ABC Inc. or majority share, which is a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. So that holds water. At the end of the day, ESPN is makes its money through advertisers. If advertisers are not seeing sufficient eyes in front of the screen or bums on seats, then they are not going to, and they're not going to spend that sort of money, the advertising money, on the marketing money on advertising during that period. So. Just the old financial issue. If you aren't going to have people viewing it, then why push advertising towards that thing? And therefore, how is ESPN going to make the money? So
Again, get woke, go broke. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just a logistics argument. Really? Well, we'll have to see. You never know. The women's sport might become extremely popular due to this. That's doubtful. Doubt it.
Yeah,
Let's see what happens.
very doubtful. Roger.
Well, with me, I come back to kind of what Mark was going into, and I've said it too before. It's advertisement, yeah, but it's more specifically, it's about branding. They need to rebrand themselves. You know what I mean? Because okay, let me kind of put it to you this way: the movie A League of Its Own was actually a true story. Now, those girls back in the day when the men were away at war went out there and put on a freaking show like you wouldn't believe because they wanted to freaking be baseball players. Now, it was sad because whenever the men came back, they freaking shut them down, but that had nothing to do with their performance. It just, that was the way the generations were. They didn't support it. Now, we come to the future where freaking men and women are supporting it, and they don't seem to have the initiative to freaking go behind what they're doing, okay, in basketball, just like those women in baseball, okay? Then that's what they need. They need to rebrand themselves. And I'm sorry, but it is stop dressing in jerseys that are freaking specifically aimed at men, okay? Come up with a freaking jersey that focuses on what women look good in because, like, don't get me wrong. When I say women like men in jerseys, men like the jerseys too. Okay, it goes both ways. Men like the jerseys that basketball players play. They go out and buy these jerseys for shitloads of money, and that's the way women need to think. It's not just, you know, don't go out there dressed up like a man. Go out there dressed up like a woman who's playing basketball. Kind of rebrand the way you look when you're out there on the basketball field or basketball court. Don't be wearing baggy ass freaking pants and stuff like men do because women don't look good in them. Period. They just don't. Women do not look good in freaking basketball jerseys. So rebrand it.
Actually, you bring up an interesting point, a phenomenon which is very relevant in the US and not so much in Britain, but it's still obvious, and something that I really dislike is the sort of wearing logos and brands on visibly on clothes. I mean, I don't own. I don't own any clothes that have actual visible brand labels on them because I didn't want to start advertising companies and other brands. But yeah, it's an interesting phenomena, let's just say, that
they're all into it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a matter of rebranding. That's all it is. They need to stop playing around. Stop trying to make female basketball players look like male basketball players. You know what I mean? Because that doesn't work. And then actually put a little oomph in your game. You're going to need a Harlem Globetrotter female basketball team. You're going to have somebody that can freaking play like freaking Magic Johnson, freaking Shaquille O'Neal, freaking, you know,
lower the basket by about half a foot so that women can do slam dunks.
That would be
There's
cool.
very few, though. I have seen enough female basketball highlights that the basket is so high that unless a woman is like even like really tall women have a very, very hard time jumping up high enough to do dunks. Like very, very rare in women's basketball do you actually see dunks.
Right.
Right? Like, I mean, those dunks and those authoritative dunks that you see in the NBA don't happen in the WNBA. The game is slower, and yeah, you're right. There's a marketing issue there, and it's like they have to make some structural changes to the game, and part of those structural changes is going to be have the women looking good in female athletic apparel and lower the basket enough so that women can do stuff like the men can do, like go in and dunk, right?
I think that'd be cool. Seeing women actually slam dunk. That'd be cool. You don't see that, you're right.
So it's like, yeah, it's not impossible for the WNBA to turn a profit. Unfortunately, like the suggestions that we just made, we would be screamed at and called misogynist pigs because, we dared to suggest that the sport isn't just perfect the way it is. It isn't, but that's neither here nor there. You know what? ESPN is woke as fuck. The WNBA, if the WNBA makes some changes, like if they go the league of their own route, they might be able to initiate some changes. If they lowered the depth of the basket and they changed the rules around that forced the women, because that's what they have in the NBA. They've got that. They got the 24-second shot clock in the NBA, right? They've got rules in the NHL that don't allow teams from circle when they've got like a 2-goal lead or a 1-goal lead at the end of the game. They've got rules that prevent players from circling around at the on the defensive zone for like 5 minutes to prevent the other team from getting the puck and scoring on them, right? Like you're not allowed to play like that at the NHL level, right? Same thing with football. They have to institute rules in the WNBA and probably in the women's hockey league as well that make it's going to be very hard to make women look like women when they're wearing hockey equipment, but they're going to have to make some changes in women's hockey to make it more interesting. And I hate to say it, that's probably going to involve allowing women to hit each other at the professional level, right? I think that's probably one of the changes they're going to have to make. Anyway, you know what? Unless anybody else has got anything to say tonight, or can I wrap this
all
up?
I was going to say on the hitting points is as long as it's done in a controlled manner, then
Right.
so.
And when it comes to women, that I do agree with you on that. They've got to give up on this whole idea that women and men are exactly the same. Like, go ahead and lower that basketball court, or basketball rim, because that's actually true. That's the way it's always been. Even when I was a kid and we were playing and freaking together, you know what I mean? You always lower the basketball hoop because the girls had a hard time making slam dunks.
Yep. Okay, well, that is it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much. I didn't think we were going to get to almost 3 hours on this, but we did. Thank you, everybody. It'll be sometime next week. I will tell you that the topics for 483 have already been finalized. Yes, we will be covering Iran. But thank you very much. And here we go. This is the end of the show. Inserted to you by Anna Ekstrom. Thank you very much for listening tonight or this afternoon.
Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribestar. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
And that is it, folks. Have a good night.